I'm Michelle Mackey. You're watching the Weather Network. We'll begin with a look at your cloud tops across the country, dealing with some very active weather through the prairies, severe weather in fact. And as we look to southern Ontario, we are dealing with another active weather day on the way for your Friday, where we see the higher clouds, the brighter colors. That's what you'll see on the map here, and that's an indication of where we see active weather. We also, as you know, had a very active day on Wednesday. Toronto Hydro really did do a very good job. Such an active day. All right, we'll get into your forecast for Friday. We have more active weather on the way. That low that's pushing into southern Ontario is going to trigger some thunderstorms. They're going to come in waves from early morning into your mid-afternoon, and you'll note that we have the potential of seeing some isolated severe thunderstorms through southwestern Ontario. The ingredients ripe to see those severe storms. One of those ingredients is CAPE. That's your convective available potential energy. The higher that value is, that really adds to the likelihood of seeing severe weather. Widespread rain is going to affect the province as well. So while places like Ottawa, not necessarily in that thunderstorm risk, going to be dealing with some steady rain through the day. The first wave of thunderstorms, I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the timestamp. That's going to roll through before noon for much of Ontario. The second wave is going to continue through the afternoon along your cold front. And then in behind this, as we move into Saturday, high pressure sinking into the province. Sunshine on the way, temperatures also on the rise, so good news ahead. We just have to get through Friday. Temperatures a little bit below seasonal, Toronto and north, but really humid in the southwest. Coming up next, we are going to take a trip around the world in 60 seconds. Remember, we love to see your photos and videos, but only if it's safe to do so. Michelle Mackey with you, and we are in store for another active weather day as we move into Friday. A widespread thunderstorm risk washing over southern Ontario, but you'll note that we do run the chance of seeing some more isolated severe thunderstorms in the southwest of the province. So places like London, Windsor, do be on alert for some very severe cells. This is all associated with a low that's moving in through the overnight. We'll have a couple waves of thunderstorms. We'll have the first wave before midday, the second wave in the afternoon. Beach weather on the way, though, for the weekend, but before you head out, you might want to watch this. Yeah, great advice, Chrissy, and especially because we are moving into beach weather, be aware. Saturday, conditions beautiful, high pressure in place, the temperatures anywhere from the low to mid-20s, so fairly seasonal. That high pressure is going to stick around as we move into Sunday. Your next low moves in on Monday. Yeah, and he heard right. There were tornado watches and warnings in place for parts of southern Ontario. We have another active weather day in store for your Friday. You'll note that this is quite a broad region for that thunderstorm risk, but what we are really concerned with is southwestern Ontario. That is where we are likely to see isolated severe thunderstorms. The ingredients in southwestern Ontario for places like Windsor, London, a little more favorable for that development. One of those ingredients is CAPE. That's your convective available potential energy. And it's more or less a measure of atmospheric instability. So on Friday morning, Friday early afternoon, you saw those bright colors rolling over southwestern Ontario. That is why we are more likely to see the severe weather relegated to the southwest of the province. Now, widespread, this is all associated with a low pressure system that's moving in through the overnight into your Friday, and that's going to bring a couple of rounds of thunderstorms. The first one is associated with a warm front, so we'll see that before noon. The second one, early afternoon, and that's associated with the cold front. In behind this low, high pressure sinking down just in time for the weekend, so we will have some nice weather, finally, to deal with. More on that in a second, but first, we have to show you more of these incredible videos. Stay with us here on the Weather Network. We will continue to have you covered with everything you need to know. In terms of your temperatures, really hot and humid in southwestern Ontario. That's another ingredient we need for those severe storms. A little more manageable as we look Toronto and north, just below seasonal, but widespread rain associated with this low through the province. Saturday, though, the numbers and the sunshine icons, they speak for themselves, don't they? High pressure, sunshine, temperatures on the rise, seasonal or there above. Here's what we can expect for the next 7 days in Toronto. A nice weekend sandwiched in between two very active days, Friday, and then we have a new low moving in for Monday. Stay with us. Your locals are next. Well, I bet you had a little bit of trouble getting where you're going on time. Michelle Mackey with you. You're watching the Weather Network. systems on Friday, we are unfortunately going to be dealing with some more active weather associated with a low pressure system moving into southern Ontario through the pre-dawn hours into the afternoon. Widespread rain associated with this, as well as isolated thunderstorms. The risk area extends from southwestern Ontario all the way up through Kingston, eastern Ontario, where we're more likely to see those isolated severe thunderstorms. That's going to be relegated to southwestern Ontario, high Cape value. The ingredients are all right for the development of those severe storms. They're going to come in waves. We have the first wave coming through the pre-dawn hours into the early morning hours. That's associated with your warm front. So you'll note that this is Friday, midday. Then we have a second front move through associated with this same low, your cold front, and that is going to bring a second round of storms. So all in all, we really are setting up for an active day. Saturday, high pressure moves into place in behind this low. We'll see sunshine and the temperatures gradually on the rise. I'll show you those temperatures in a minute, but first, let's look at what we're dealing with on Friday morning. Below seasonal temperatures into the mid-teens. The rainfall, widespread. Ottawa could be dealing with about 15 to 20 millimeters of rain. So while Ottawa not in that thunderstorm risk area, still going to be dealing with an active weather day. Friday afternoon, the rain continues, as does the thunderstorm risk in the south. And then Saturday, as I mentioned, high pressure sliding into place. That's going to stick around for your Sunday, but we are watching another low pressure system move into southern Ontario Sunday overnight through Monday. So starting off next week, it's going to be a little bit soggy, but let's focus on the good news. Saturday and Sunday finally shaping up for a nice weekend. For everything you need to know about active weather, you've come to the right place. Michelle Mackey with you here on the Weather Network. We've got active weather across Canada through the overnight. A low producing some thunderstorms, triggering some thunderstorms in the prairies. We have an advancing low that's making its way into Ontario and a line of thunderstorms in the east. Not only have we seen thunderstorms, we've seen rain, and we will continue to see rain through Saturday. Keep in mind, most of this is going to be clear for Friday. This is a combination of rain that we're going to be dealing with through the overnight as it tracks to the east. And then on Saturday, we are going to be getting some more rainfall. You'll note the heavier amounts relegated to northern portions of Newfoundland. In terms of your temperatures on Friday, the Maritimes above seasonal for the most part, lots of sunshine. You're going to need the sunscreen before heading out the door Friday morning. Friday evening, we do run the chance of seeing some thunderstorms through the Avalon Peninsula and St. John's. We'll get more into your forecast details for Friday. Reported near Keswick. This cannot be confirmed as a tornado, though. All right, let's get into your conditions for Friday. We have more active weather on the way. Temperatures are going to be a little bit below seasonal. That's mostly due to all of that cloud cover, not getting much sun by any means. Here's your risk map for thunderstorms through Friday. Few waves of that coming, but you'll note that isolated severe potential relegated to southwestern Ontario, Sarnia, Windsor, the potential of seeing some rotating storms. Rotating storms have the capability of producing tornadoes, so you're going to want to stay with us here on the Weather Network. We'll keep you covered. Active weather coverage continues right here on the Weather Network. My name's Michelle Mackey. We've got a lot of active weather to talk about across the country, also dealing with some active weather stateside as well. We're going to start you off through Alberta and Saskatchewan. This is our cloud tops map. The higher the clouds, the colder the clouds, the brighter the colors, and that's an indication of where we are dealing with active weather. So you'll note that through the Alberta-Saskatchewan border, that is where we are dealing with some thunderstorms. More on that in a sec, but we're going to start you off with your forecast conditions Friday for BC. We're still dealing with a ridge of high pressure over the south coast, which means sunny conditions, seasonal temperatures, and we're finally getting into some moisture through the southern interior and a return to more comfortable temperatures. Meanwhile, as we track further to the east into the prairies, this evening we do have a widespread risk of some non-severe and isolated severe thunderstorms through much of Alberta and also western portions of Saskatchewan. You'll note that the biggest risk for seeing those isolated severe thunderstorms is through the central parts of the province. This is all associated with a low pressure system. And as it tracks east through tomorrow, through your Friday, so too does that thunderstorm risk area. The isolated severe risks mostly relegated to central Saskatchewan. We're going to take you now to a video from the Edmonton area. Remember, only send them to us if it is safe for you to film them in the first place. Widespread rain associated with this low pressure system as well, most notably through northern Saskatchewan, 15 to 30 millimeters possible or more. But we need the rain. It's been so dry. Your crops are very thirsty, and it also helps the wildfire risk. When we talk about CAPE, we're talking about convective available potential energy. More or less, this is a measure of instability in the atmosphere where we're more likely to see some of that severe weather. So as we look to Friday, we're going to see that high CAPE value shift further to the east into eastern portions of Saskatchewan by midday. As we move through your Friday evening, though, it's going to work its way into parts of Manitoba. We had tornado watches and warnings. We also had watches and warnings for tornadoes through Alberta and Saskatchewan on Thursday evening. Those have now dropped. Michelle Mackey with you as our active weather coverage continues. We're going to focus in on the east through the overnight. We have an advancing low making its way into southern Ontario. We'll see showers and a few waves of thunderstorms as well throughout the day. We also have rainfall expected widespread as we move in through your Saturday. Keep in mind it's going to be clear through the Maritimes on Friday until we get into the evening overnight. That's when our next low will push in, but it's going to be an unsettled end to the week for Newfoundland. We also have the potential of seeing some thunderstorms for St. John's by your Friday evening, but look at these numbers. Well above seasonal for the Maritimes and lots of sunshine. Workers working very hard to get power up and going once again. And unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we have more active weather on the way for your Friday. A few waves coming into play. Rain expected north of Kingston, Ottawa, not necessarily in that thunderstorm risk area, but we could be dealing with about 15 to 20 millimeters of rain for the area. We are mostly focusing in on southwestern Ontario for the potential of isolated severe storms. We could also see some rotating storms, and remember, rotating storms have the potential of producing tornadoes. More on our national coverage after this. Active weather coverage continues right here on the Weather Network. My name is Michelle Mackey, guiding you through it. We have a lot to cover. We have active weather stateside, but of course, our focus is going to be in Canada. We'll begin in Alberta, Saskatchewan, taking a look at our cloud tops map. The higher the clouds are, the colder they are, and that's an indication of those bright colors and also an indication of where we are dealing with active weather. We love to see your viewer photos and videos, but of course only when it is safe to do so. This is all associated with a low pressure system that's going to be tracking east as we move into Friday. And as it tracks east, so too does the thunderstorm risk area. You'll note that it extends from northern Alberta into central and southern Saskatchewan, western portions of Manitoba as well. Our biggest risk for seeing those isolated severe thunderstorms is relegated to central Saskatchewan. We could also be dealing with some thunderstorms through the morning hours in Calgary, parts of southern Alberta, non-severe though. We also have widespread rain associated with this low, most notably to northern Saskatchewan. We'll take you to Toronto, a recap. Funnel cloud near Keswick. I'm not sure if you saw that online, but quite ominous. Cannot be confirmed as a tornado though. And we have more thunderstorms on the way as we move into your Friday. Quite a wide area for southern Ontario. We're most concerned about southwestern Ontario, Windsor, London. The ingredients are right for some isolated severe thunderstorms. Conditions Friday morning, lots of rain throughout the province, temperatures into the high teens, a little bit warmer through southwestern Ontario, very humid. And as we look to the east on Friday, clearing out, warming up, lots of sunshine on the way for the Maritimes, well deserved, but we are going to be dealing with some of that active weather into Newfoundland. Most notably, St. John's could be dealing with thunderstorms as we move through your Friday evening. Stay right here. Rachel Schutzen is next with the things you need to know. It's time for the things you need to know. Michelle Mackey joining you. We certainly had an active evening on Thursday in Alberta and Saskatchewan. And when we have active weather, we also have a lot of activity online as well. Tons of photos and videos on Twitter. I want to show you some of them. incredible photography skills. I hope you were safe when you took this. This is the Ponoka storm. Also a tornado warned cell. Sorry about that. We're having a little bit of trouble there. A tornado warned cell. I also do want to mention that there are reports about 5 kilometers south of Ponoka that there was a tornado on the ground. This cannot be confirmed yet. Environment Canada does have to send a team out to assess that situation. Finally, we'll show you this photo from Edmonton. Lots of sunshine, but then in the background, about few kilometers away, you can see how dark and ominous the sky looks. If you want to get involved and send us your photos or videos, here's how you can connect with us. But remember, we only want to see those photos and videos if it is safe for you to film and take them.